Yo, it's Guido coming at you with a quick tactics tip. I did cover this on a video a while ago when I showed the whole game for Metal Over Madness. Had a great game, ends up being a loss, but I wanted to specifically go over cap mechanics a little bit here and how to cap. This is a close game. There's 3 tanks on each side. You can see that the Rudy on the enemy team was last seen moving through the north up here. We have Metal and Papa, 1942 and his KV-1, they're on cap. The enemy has 2 artillery and the Rudy, and the Rudy is probably charging hard to get up onto the cap. So how do you do this? It's going to end up being a loss for a couple reasons here. For a cap, you have to set the conditions. This is not a bad attempt right here. What they need to do is minimize exposure from where they think they're going to get spotted, and most likely the Rudy is going to come from this ramp right here because he's got to move across the A row and come up the hill. All right, so we've got the Hummel back here. He's going to keep on trucking. We have the KV-1 who's decided to get on cap way over here. Now, I don't know what he was thinking. It's possible that he wanted to get to this side to better spot artillery, or maybe he just wasn't thinking, because if it was me, I'd have put myself back here. Maybe even not too close to Metal, because there might be some blind shots from M44 and 304. I want to make sure we don't both get hit if the M44 gets lucky and splashes near us. So I don't want to be sitting with him. There are some arguments for getting right behind a guy. That's a different subject in terms of the guy that has the most cap points can sometimes hide behind another tank, and even if the tank ahead of him gets hit, you don't lose that many cap points. You only lose what that tank had, and your guy with the most cap points keeps them. So there's one little technique. But if I was this KV-1, I would absolutely be over here. If the Arty does come over, they'll still have shots. I think they're going to have no problem spotting the Arty, potentially. Not great view range, although I think the 304 is okay. But the problem with what the KV-1 does is he completely allows himself to be seen and shot. See, there's an artillery shot. So he just took a stab at it right there. And we're going to have the Rudy show up basically somewhere in here, and he sees the KV-1, right? I would even say to some extent Metal's a little too far forward. If I was to position both tanks, I'd put one about here and one about here, so that a poke over in this area is not going to see him. Guy's going to have to come up right here. If I was approaching as the Rudy, I would come up on the ramp right there so I could see as much of the cap as possible in case there was somebody hiding. I think Metal sort of thinks about that and he starts to back out. And the KV-1 just sits there, unfortunately. All right, other things on the cap, and Metal's doing it right now, is don't move. It breaks your camo. It gives you your moving camo. More than likely, if somebody pokes up here, though, the camo's not going to matter. Still, if for some reason there's somebody just at the edge of their view range up in this area over here, you don't want to be moving around and let them see you easier. All right, yes, not a lot of camo in the KV-1, but every little bit helps when you're trying to do this. We're at 14 seconds, and unfortunately, Metal comes up here and takes a shot at the Rudy, but now he's spotted, right? And we have 10 seconds for 2 relatively fast-firing / aiming tanks, artillery tanks, to get a shot. So he backs out. The KV-1 just sits there. He's completely shottable, and unfortunately, we get splashed, right? So there's the first decap. The Rudy's looking for a shot. The second Arty is smart and goes after the KV-1. For the enemy team, or for you who are trying to decap, that was absolutely genius right there. Whether it was by luck or on purpose, hard to tell, but they hit each guy. Now both of them lost their cap points. And the KV-1's making no effort to cover up against the Rudy. I think he actually eats a shot right here. Rudy comes up and gets one on him. And we kill off the KV-1. He shoots on the move. Yep, there we go. So another HE shell. And now Metal's kind of pushing in there. KV-1 goes charging off. Second mistake is basically they had this. All the KV-1 really needed to do was shift over this way, force the Rudy to come up and over, or potentially shift all the way across to get lights, and now we have the Hummel getting on cap. So we still had a chance to win this if the KV-1 would have come over with Metal Over Madness right there. There would have been 3 guys on. We just lost the cap points that KV-1 had because he's charging at him, and this could have been, again, a cap win. So several mistakes there, some things to think about when you're trying to cap, when you're trying to set the conditions, and a little bit about how you might want to spot it. I really think the Rudy would have done a lot better by being over in this area right here. The other thing he could do, potentially, is reposition, but it looks like now that with 2 or 3 guys on, it goes pretty quickly. So we're already down to 24 seconds there. So he may not have had time to come all the way over. There you go. That's it for quick tactics tip for the day. Setting the cap conditions and how to cap and hide and make it happen. That's all I've got. We will see ya.